In today's episode of Palm Harbor Local, we sit down with my good friend Amie Stepkoski, stager and redesigner with A Step Above Designs. Amie and I have worked together on several real estate transactions in the past, and she has been a huge help to my business and helping my sellers understand the importance of redesigning their home. So I'm super excited to sit down with Amie. Her and I both think about business and life in the same ways, have that same approach to business and life. So I think there's a lot of value that Amie brings to the table in what she does. And she's super passionate about staging and redesigning and working with sellers, building that relationship and working with sellers. So without further ado, let's get into it. First off, let's just tell everybody about what you do and kind of go from there.
Okay, thanks for having me, Donnie. I'm excited to be here, and I appreciate you thinking of me. Yes, I started a staging and redesign business about 3 years ago. It's A Step Above Designs, and I decided to do that because I had previously been teaching when I was raising my kids, and in fact we homeschooled as well. We were in the schools homeschooling, all the things, but I knew that once they got older I wanted to do something just that was really more driven by my passion, which has always been design and also real estate. I love real estate. I'm totally like a realtor.com stalker, checking out all the neighborhoods, what's going on. So this was just the perfect way, I felt like, for me to combine, my passion with really a lot of experience I got in the first 12 years that I was married. We moved around, I think we moved 8 times.
Wow.
So we bought and sold 7 homes in that time frame, and every time we achieved top dollar because I was so particular about how I showcased our property, for the market, which at the time I honestly didn't know it was staging, but turns out that's what they call it. So
So this is something you've just always kind of naturally gravitated towards or just had a passion for from early on?
Yeah. When I was young, my grandparents had a flooring and decor business. Okay. It was Bright's Home Fashions up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And nice. My grandfather did all the flooring. My grandmother bought home accessories. And at the time, this was a long time ago, so the custom-made draperies were super popular. She had someone in there that did that kind of thing, wallpaper. So I would go visit them in the summer and decorate my future home. And I just loved it. So I went to market with them when they came to Atlanta to buy for the store, and it's just something I always enjoyed. So
yeah. So I guess you did this for your friends and family for a long time. So why not start the business earlier, or if this is something that you were enjoyed doing,
right?
Why didn't you do that earlier on?
Yeah. Well, so I'll tell you, when I was in college, I changed my major probably 10 times. Yeah. I mean, my dad was like, how many credits are you going to have and how many different colleges? Design was my major for a little while. Okay. And then I honestly just knew that I wanted to have children and wanted to be available for them. And that was really my priority. So I actually ended up going into teaching. So I got a master's in special education, and so that's what I did at first. And it was more focused on just being able to balance a life with a family and still work, be home with them in the summers and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So design was really just my hobby. I enjoyed decorating my own home. I would help my friends when they needed help. They usually would call me because they knew I loved it, and they, I think they liked my style and everything. So it was just a hobby at that time. And then once my kids got older and we were wrapping up the homeschool thing, I thought, you know what? I've been teaching a long time and I just want to do something fun. Like it just wasn't fun anymore. And, but also, and I wanted to just transition from the hobby to a real business, legitimate business where I can generate an income to contribute to our family.
Yeah. So you finally decided, all right, now's time for me to venture out and start this business.
Exactly.
Crazy. So was that an easy decision or was that like difficult or?
Well, it's funny. It was super exciting, and I mean, I just spent so much time, like I knew I had kind of a natural eye for design, but I'd never actually been trained in design. So I just jumped into everything I could get my hands on to learn about staging and design. I got several certifications in that, I really wanted to understand like the why behind things so that I could educate my clients and not just say, oh, trust me, that looks good,
Right.
So I wanted to learn my craft. And so I did that, and that was super fun. And then I realized I had to learn how to run a business.
It's like a whole nother level of learning.
Yes, it was. I mean, that kind of scared me because I'm not a salesy person at all. I mean, I'm married to a salesman, and I just always thought I could never do what he does. And, it's funny when you think about, okay, what do I want to do with my life? People say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Sure.
Well, guess what? When you do what you love, you still have to learn how to run a business.
Yeah.
Even if that's not your thing. So that part honestly was pretty scary, but I invested in that too, to learn how to do that. Really tried to find people to learn from, mentors, business coaches. And, I realized you have to do hard things a lot and consistently and get out of your comfort zone all the time. But, there are rewards, so it's worth it.
Yeah. You hit on some really good points there. And starting a business it's not easy and it's not for everybody, and like you said, like getting out of your comfort zone, like I think that's the biggest thing, like being okay with failing. All those things are what is gonna make you successful and happy with your business. So
right.
So when you first started your or first were like, all right, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna start my own business. What did what did you envision your business looking like at that point? And is it different from what it is today?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Actually, it's funny because at first I thought I just want to do everything. Like I want to do vacant staging. I want to have a warehouse. I want to do occupied staging. I want to, do all of it.
Yeah.
And so I had these big dreams with that. And I knew it would take me some time to build inventory and whatnot. And so I started out renting furniture from a local it's actually a national furniture rental company.
Okay.
I would use that. And then I bought my own accessories and I would use that in jobs. But then I honestly realized that I didn't love the vacant side of things. It's fun to start with kind of a blank slate, but I was really enjoying working with clients face-to-face, one-on-one. My occupied consultations, I meet with them in their home, the homeowner, and we spend a couple hours together, and I use what they have as much as we possibly can, and rearrange things, find kind of the gems that they have throughout the house and that's fun because to me, it really makes that seller, it gets them excited because they're like, oh my gosh, I wish that you had come here when we moved in. Like this place looks great, So it really builds them up and makes them super proud of the property they have and that they've invested in. And so that whole interaction was really my favorite part. Okay. And, with the vacant, it's fun. I just, I might go with my headphones and just go to work. When I get there, but it's kind of quiet, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, and the homeowner's not there, they're moved out, and but it's a beautiful finish, because
Sure.
you've got all, like chosen items in there that create one cohesive look. But so anyways, I say that because I decided that I didn't want to do the vacant, the warehouse, no thanks. I just didn't want to be a moving company. That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
And but I wanted to focus on the occupied homes, which meant I was really going to try to find realtors to partner with, like you.
Yeah.
And I actually all along had been part of my trade association, the Real Estate Staging Association, Tampa Bay chapter. So I really got involved there and met other stagers that focus on vacant.
Oh, okay.
So we just partner together.
Perfect.
And that's even more fun because I'd rather support them and their business than the national rental company. It's just more of a collaboration and a lot lot of fun.
Yes. So you're able to focus on your niche, on the things that you enjoy doing,
Mm-hmm.
and then and then find partners to do the other stuff that you don't enjoy doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what is it about the relationships that or the occupied homes that you enjoy so much? Is it just the connection? Like, is it the connections with the people and their reactions? Or
It's definitely that, but also it's more of a challenge when you're trying to use what they already have.
Yeah.
And, you know what it's like walking into some of those homes, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, this is going to be challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really am very strategic in the words that I use. I want every word to be empowering and also to educate them the why behind the recommendations I make.
Mm-hmm.
And because that really creates buy-in. If they understand why, and it's not a judgment, it's not, me saying I don't like your taste. It's a marketing strategy,
Right.
Right. And so I enjoy sharing that. I think it gets homeowners excited because they want top dollar for their home,
Sure.
and they really see the vision and they understand the why behind everything that we're doing, and they're proud of their home at the end. I mean, a lot of times they're like, "Dang, why am I moving?"
Yeah, I want to stay
So,
here now.
yeah. So it's the challenge. I mean, the challenge is really fun, and then sometimes I'll bring in like some really awesome accessories just to give it the wow. And they're amazed by just what that will do. Just, a few items, and it just really transforms the place. And, sometimes they buy them. Sometimes they'll just go shop and find something similar, but they're like, wow, this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the buy-in is the hardest part. And we've had that discussion before kind of
Mm-hmm.
about, one of the big things that people are hesitant to do is painting.
Yeah.
But that makes a huge difference, especially with someone who has, a dark home and everybody's looking for kind of light and bright and that sort of
Right.
stuff. And there's a lot of grays now that people are enjoying. So creating that buy-in is a very challenging part. So how do you work around that, and how do you create that buy-in? I know you kind of just touched on it there a little bit.
Yeah, that's huge. So you're right. They don't necessarily do 100% of what I ask them, or what I recommend.
Right.
And that's understandable. And it's up to them, But so educating them for sure, explaining why. And there are different choices that I would make for staging that I would for design, and it's for marketing purposes. For example, and this is the kind of conversation I might have with them. Like if they have a beautiful area rug in their family room and it's anchoring their sofa and coffee table, maybe it looks great from a design view, but for staging, if it's kind of a smaller room, we really want to show off the square footage, and especially if they have beautiful floors, like say they have new hardwood floors or some new tile, we want to showcase that, and the square footage is where the value lies, and also those fixed finishes, right? Like
Right.
granite countertops, nice flooring. So we want to take things away, like the rug, maybe, to just show off that space. And because the more your eye stops in a room, the more chopped up it feels and the smaller it feels.
Okay.
So we find the areas where the most value lies in the fixed assets, like maybe a gorgeous view. We want to make sure the eye goes straight to that view and is not distracted by the art, that's hung on either side of the window. Even if it's a $30,000 painting, you're not selling the painting, you're selling the view outside.
Sure.
And that's where the dollars are. So those kinds of conversations. And I would say, it's funny because I do get pushback on paint.
Yeah.
But I do win sometimes,
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny because I've called people before. In fact, I feel like it may have been one of your clients once. I made the initial phone call to set up the appointment, and before even we got past hello, he told me he was not painting.
Yeah. Probably because I brought it up in the appointment before.
Yeah. So, that's fine. And he didn't paint.
Right.
Of course, I did choose some colors for him.
Yeah.
I mean, they were open to getting, they said, well, just give us some colors, and if we decide to paint, we will.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't paint, but they did get a quick offer. And I honestly think it's because they did all the other things, and so it's a give and take. I mean, I had one recently, in fact, for someone else in your office that had lime green walls.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, it looked nice with her decor, but it was very modern, and not everyone has modern taste. So,
Right.
There were some things that she didn't do, but she did paint those walls. And I just felt like, okay, that's a win, you know? I mean,
made a huge difference.
Yeah, and I think just when you give them the reasoning behind things and they understand it's not, a knock on their taste, and they feel like you're partnering with them, they feel like I'm partnering with you as their realtor, and we're all in this together to get them the most that they can for their home, then that really makes a difference. And if they do 75% of the list, that's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. It still makes a difference, like even if they don't do the whole entire list.
Right.
And I think like you just said, like creating that team sort of environment, like, hey, we're all in this for the same goal. Like, we want to get you the most amount of money that you can. If you just, kind of trust us, and we're the experts in this, particular field and stuff. And I think that helps kind of create that buy-in as well.
Yeah.
So one thing that you touched on earlier was the sales part of it. And this is something that I kind of have thought a lot about in my business, but just not being that salesy, quote unquote salesy person. So how have you kind of adapted or just bought into accepting that role of like, I am in sales. This is what I have to do. I have to kind of sell myself, but also doing it in your own way.
Right. Yeah, that was definitely my biggest challenge. And I have to work on it every day, because I would say, first of all, I did get a business coach. I hired a business coach that actually was in real estate for a long time, and just understood my industry, And so the biggest thing I learned from her, I would say, is that my mindset has to be in the right place. Before I make a phone call, before I send an email, it's really, I would say like 75% of it is my mindset. And number one, I know that I have something that will help people. I know that I have something that will make them happy and feel good about, this investment that's probably the largest single investment they have. I'm really passionate about just home. What does home mean?
Yeah.
What is that? I feel like everyone deserves to have like a safe, comfortable home that functions well for them and their family. and is a place that they look forward to going to at the end of a long day. And so that, my passion, and just knowing that if I look at this as sharing my passion and my expertise with people, and they're going to benefit greatly from this and feel good and happy and rewarded even in their bank account, then why would I not tell them about it? And I would say along with that, I'm not selling every time I call them.
Right.
I'm just building a relationship with them and letting them know that I really do care about what's going on in their life, and not even always talking about real estate or design or staging. I mean, it's just about, the whole know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
Let them see that they can trust you and that your intentions, are to help them or in any way that you can, regardless of what that involves. And so it's just, and that mindset, and then just that helps me get excited to talk to someone instead of afraid. And, I'm not saying I'm never afraid, but, it's a constant, like, talking to myself, telling, saying, listen, you're just building relationships, you're not, if you look at it that way, it doesn't feel like sales,
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's really just about the relationships, and you don't, like, if you have the relationship with those people, you don't really have to, sell yourself or whatever, just the person who you are is going to be enough for to get the business or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
So
I would say another thing that's helped me too is I joined a networking group, and just being around other entrepreneurs, other professionals, learning from them, and also just having them in my back pocket when I can help somebody else. If somebody needs a painter or somebody needs a home inspector or a chiropractor or a babysitter, I don't know, like anything. Just I like to be the resource for people, and I think we all enjoy, I mean, that's an act of giving, really, I think, just because who doesn't like to hear from someone, that they've got they can refer you to someone and they have experience with them, they know them. It's not just, I'm going to go Google and see if I can find a roofer.
Right.
I can talk to somebody that knows the company and the, what kind of company they've built and what they're, are they, do they have integrity? How do they treat their clients? How do they follow up when there's problems? Because there's always problems, and you can refer them with confidence because you know them. Yeah.
So that reminds me of a book. Have you read The Go-Giver?
Yes. Yeah. I love that book.
So being like the connector, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of the middleman who's, connecting all of your people with, other contacts that you have in your database and stuff.
Yeah.
And it feels good to do that.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't, and it's funny because you think when you start a business or when you're trying to grow a business, like, oh my gosh, I need to get clients, but it really just happens naturally if you're just thinking about how you can serve somebody else, and it does feel good. You feel like you've contributed in some way to helping someone else's business and also just helping a person that needs some help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one thing I want to touch on, because I've, working together with you over the last, it's been like a year or something now. Mm-hmm. I know you're extremely passionate about staging and doing what you do. So where does that come from, and why are you so passionate about it?
Well, I think it is just, kind of what I touched on about the whole idea of having a home that people are excited to go back to and spend time with their family and, just relax at the end of the day or enjoy the weekend. I mean, if I didn't have that, I don't know where I would be. I'm thankful for my family, my husband, and we've just always had a nice roof over our heads, since we got married. So, and I grew up with that too. I mean, I grew up in a house that my parents had for 40 years. So
Oh, wow.
it's like I grew up there, went back there for Christmases with my kids
Yep.
and,
Yep.
visits. And so I just think everybody deserves that, and also there's so much that you can do that's not expensive. You can spend a fortune on an interior designer,
Sure.
and all the designer furniture and art and accessories and whatnot, but not everybody has that, and it's not always the best investment either.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not sure, a $10,000 sofa is going to really do much for your financial picture overall, but
Right.
which, that's great that some people have that, but I like to help the people that can't spend $10,000 on a couch, but want to have a beautiful place, that functions well for their family and just makes them happy when they're sitting there. And so I like to help them find ways to achieve that without breaking the bank.
Yeah, I think that's huge because most people don't have a ton of money to spend on their home, but it does make a difference. Like when you have a home that you really enjoy living in and enjoy the memories that you're making there, the spaces that you have,
Right.
and like you said, like some of your past clients have had, you've helped them stage a home to sell it, and then they see like the potential that there was, and it's not costing them, it's not breaking the bank to have that space.
Right. And then I'll go back and help them in their new home.
Right.
Redesign. And with my redesign, I approach it the same way where, let's work with what you have that you love. And then we can build a design around that. And whatever your budget is, whatever your time frame is, if you want to do it in phases, I mean, we can do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so that kind of leads me to my next question I have about going back to the business and just the day-to-day aspect of running a business, and something we've touched on before, but time blocking and having that balance, because you don't really have, just like, us realtors, like there is no kind of off time, right? You're kind of always working. There's always something to do in the business. So, how has time blocking been for you, and have you found ways to kind of balance that, or ways to help improve your time blocking?
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely a big deal for me to learn. And I think when I first started keeping a calendar, and I would block out, like, say, a few hours and say, oh, I'm going to work on social media and emails or something, and I found that if I just put broad topics or, broad, scheduled broad things on my calendar, it was easy to get distracted, off track. 2 hours is up, and what did I accomplish?
Yeah.
Maybe I was going to post something on social media, and then I got sucked in and I didn't post. Instead I read a bunch of things, so I realized that with time blocking, the key for me has been to be just very specific, like task oriented, not broad idea. And then I have to time block everything. Like I time block my quiet time in the morning when I first get up, exercise. I time block like when I'm going to take a shower, so I can get out the door, and every meeting, and then also, emails regarding, follow up with so-and-so, or create 5 posts for this week, and then schedule time to post them, or, which I still do that myself. I mean, I could probably use buffer or something, but I'm always, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I want to see what I feel like posting at that time.
Yeah.
But anyways, but just being very specific, and then, time with my family, and, time to just do everything, every responsibility I have. I mean, there's so many as parents. It's like, you've got to do things at home, do things, for your spouse, for your kids, block time for all of them, and then your job. And you could literally just work constantly if you, I mean, there's never a time when it's like, oh, I have nothing I could do right now.
Right. That doesn't exist. No.
And also accepting that and just knowing, you know what, if I'm consistent and and every day or every week I hit these goals for prospecting or, marketing or face-to-face or whatever, if, it's going to happen, I mean, you don't want to burn yourself out either.
Yeah. I think that's, that goes along with like just being patient, right? And then if you say like, all right, here's my goals, here's how I'm going to achieve that. And then, you break it down to, like you said, like the daily task that you have to do every single day. And then you just stay consistent with that. It's, it's hard, or something I struggle with as well as the time blocking and being patient because, you want to accomplish so much in such a short amount of time, but it just doesn't work like that. Right. So you have to be, patient. You have to just stick with the process and let it take care of itself.
Yeah.
But I think that time blocking that allows you to be like, all right, I accomplished what I set out to accomplish that day. And then you can, you can enjoy the time with your family and enjoy your downtime that you've scheduled in, instead of thinking about like, dang, I didn't get things done.
I know, it's freeing. And if you I try to sit down on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday and time block my whole week. And it's like, then I don't have to stress about, oh my gosh, I have to remember to do this and this and this and this, because I have it on the calendar.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to stress about, and then, it's a learning process all, over and over again about how long something's actually going to take, and there's always things that take longer than you expect and whatnot. So usually when I sit down to time block for the next week, I look back at the week before and it's like, oh, okay, I didn't get to this. So let me make sure I put that in this week's schedule, and, and being okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, you got to be okay with, and also looking back and saying, wow, look at all I accomplished. Like, give yourself credit for that,
Yeah, that's huge. That's a hard thing to do. And sometimes when you catch yourself looking back, you're like, oh wow, I actually had a good week, or I had a good day or something. But we get caught up in like what I didn't do or what I wish I had done, sort of thing.
Exactly.
That gap concept, or whatever it is that you're like, I'm short of my goal, so I didn't have a good day.
Right. I know. I mean, we're really good at beating ourselves up.
Yeah.
So if we could just say, all right, let me stop and look and see what I really accomplished.
Yeah.
Awesome. I talked to 10 people today and I sent out, 7 emails that needed to go out. And I did, I mean, you're going to see in front of you on that calendar what you actually accomplished. So you can't deny it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we love to deny our successes for some reason, or just forget about them, you know?
Why the heck do we do that?
I don't know. That's not the way to live, but we're all guilty of it, I think, at some point.
Yep. Always a work in progress. Yep. Awesome, Amie. Well, listen, I really appreciate you joining us today, and I hope everyone listening, got some value out of it. I'm sure they did. And if you're thinking about starting your own business, go for it. I think it's something that everyone should do, or achieve their dreams and achieve their goals and stuff. So appreciate you sharing your insight and struggles there with us too.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Yep. So lastly, where can, if anybody's looking to find you, to follow you on social media, or how can they get a hold of you?
So I have a Facebook page, A Step Above Designs, and I post a lot on my personal page too, which they could check out. Amie, Amie Stepkoski. It's spelled just like it sounds, with no W. Stepkoski. And I'm on Instagram, A Step Above Designs, and I have a website, A Step Above Designs with an S.com.
Fantastic. Go check her out. So I really hope you found some value in that conversation with Amie. There's one thing that stood out to me that I really wanted to point out, and that's the fact that she is constantly pushing herself out of her comfort zone. She talked about, building those relationships or not being comfortable with sales, but she knew for her business that it was something that was important, that she needed to accomplish, she needed to overcome. And it's a constant it's a constant battle. It's not something that, you push through once and then, you're good to go. It's going to be smooth sailing from there. That's not the case. It's something that is constantly a work in progress, day in and day out. Every conversation, sometimes you have to pep yourself up and realize, or just talk to yourself that you're doing it for the right reasons. And I think Amie hit on that perfectly. And it's something that has brought her success in her business over the last 3 years and allowed her to do what she's been able to do. So if you're having trouble with a space, whether you're selling your home or maybe you're just living in your home and you need some help, give Amie a shout. You can find her on social media or Instagram or Facebook, like she just mentioned. So thank you all for listening in. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time on Palm Harbor Local.